Okay, audio processing. I'm going to divide this into simple concepts and more advanced subjects. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but here we go. I'm going to take our movie files and drag them into a program called Switch. There are lots of audio converters out there. Switch is one of them. It is inexpensive, but it does cost a little bit of money. There are free options out there, but I find Switch does such a great job that I love having it, and I bought it. It's going to take these movie files and create a new audio file based on it. So it's going to strip out that audio. It's not going to strip it out. It's going to copy that audio file only and create a new file with the same start and the same end. Let's do that now. We've selected all our movie files. It's outputting to our output folder. We're outputting WAV files. Let's convert it. And it works fast and perfectly. Great, we have our WAV files. I'm going to open up Logic and we create a track. Let's drag in all those WAV files. Here we go. We're going to create some new tracks. There we are. And there's our audio of all of our movie files. What do you notice? That's right, we have our clap points. Fantastic. That's going to help us right now. First, I'm going to trim out some garbage. And then I'm going to bring it all over. Still not synced. Let's zoom in, learn how to zoom. That is a great thing to know how to do on any DAW. I'm going to trim these right to the start of this. And there's a cool trick I learned just the other day where I put my playhead where I want, wherever I want. And I click these and I click the semicolon key and it brings, oh, I have to do them individually. But it's going to bring each one of those regions to my playhead, wherever it is. Good. So this is going to sound like a 4-part clap. It does indeed. Oh, I've got some reverb on there. Accidentally. Let's hear how it sounds. Good. So the audio files that you're going to get from your students or participants, they could be recorded the entire room length away. It could be right next to the instrument. It could be super far away. Your levels are going to be very different between each one of these tracks, possibly. So what we're going to do now is normalize them. I'm going to click this open, double click on here. That's going to open this window. We go to functions, we go normalize, region gain. There are two ways to normalize. One is scanning for the highest peak on that waveform. And of course, that's going to be our clap point. So that's going to take that up to the 0 point. What I like to do is go by loudness or LUFS. And that's going to take the average loudness of that whole envelope and bring that up to or down to this target level. Let's do that now. Fantastic. That brought it up a little bit. Let's do it again. Good. And let's do it again. We can't count on all those claps being the same volume either. So we have to take the average volume of the entire envelope. Let's hear how it sounds. Fantastic. That sounds great. So I've opened up the mixer here, and let's say we want some sort of stereo image. I see 4 players in front of me, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want that to be reflected in my headphones. So I'm going to take this track here and move it all the way to the left. I'm going to move this one midway to the left, this one a little bit to the right, and this one all the way to the right. If I was to do that up here in this view, you can see this dial right here. It's reflected there. So there are many ways and many places of doing the same thing. You have to explore your DAW and see what is right for you and your workflow. Fantastic. Let's hear that stereo image. Good. That's really lovely. So some other things we can do. We can adjust the EQing or the frequency of each one of these tracks. We can double click over here and say, you know what? This violin sounds a little dull. Let's bring up its brightness. We don't want to really spike it like this, but let's just solo this. I've got the wrong headphone in. Good. Let's bring down that EQ. Good. Do you hear how it's just a little bit duller? Fantastic. Let's keep it as it was. I like how it was. I like the sound of my instrument. Fantastic. And the overall mix, all of these channels eventually flow to the right and they come out on this stereo channel. That is our master channel. So from there, let's open up the EQ. This is going to affect the EQ of the overall mix. Fantastic. So we go over here to EQ tools and let's say, you know, I like a darker sound. Let's go make darker. That's going to boost the level of the lower frequency range and dim the upper frequency range just a little bit. Again, it doesn't do huge spikes like that. Let's hear how that sounds. And contrast that with bypass. Good, nice. Now, let's add some ambience. Let's add some reverb. We'll open up Space Designer. There's lots of built-in reverbs for both Reaper and Logic Audio. And let's choose a bright hall. A bright hall. How does that sound? Good. So we have a dry signal, which is the signal without the effect on it. And we have a wet signal, which is how much of the effect we want. That seems like just a little bit too much reverb to me. So let's bring that down to -20. Let's hear that again. Maybe split the difference. Let's bring that up to 17. Good. So we still have a little bit of reverb in there, and it's got some nice ambience. We have our stereo image. We've done a little bit of EQing. You can dig into this as much as you want. You can apply all sorts of effects. And so what we're going to do now is bounce this out. We're going to keep that audio sync point right at the beginning because we're going to use our visual sync point to line that up to. So fantastic. We are going to render this out. We go bounce. We keep the normalization on. That's probably just going to stretch up that clap peak anyway, so that's fine. We're going to eventually get rid of that. And we're going to go rendered audio. Bounce, replace. Fantastic. All right, we're ready to place this in our final step of our project. We're going to do that in our video editor. Here we go.